Last night the family and I decided to watch an all-new Netflix original film called Kinda Pregnant, but did I think it was kinda good or kinda bad? Let's talk about it. Hey, welcome back to the video. It's a brand new movie review. Today I'm talking all about a brand new original Netflix film called Kinda Pregnant. It dropped on Netflix here in the UK at the start of Feb. I'll talk more about that in just a minute, but before I do, as always, just a friendly reminder, these are just my thoughts, so don't let this dictate whether or not you decide to see it and stream it on Netflix, because you might watch it and feel totally differently to me, and that is okay, because movies aren't made to cater for everyone. Without any further ado, let's start talking about it. And like I say, it dropped on Netflix at the start of Feb. I believe it was the 9th or something of Feb, and I hadn't heard about it at all. Netflix has done very little or zero marketing for this film, and I only found out about it last night when it was my sister's birthday and we'd put on Netflix to have a look to see what we want to watch, and it just came up as one of the suggested movies that we might like. And I had a quick look, and it came out at the start of February, I believe, which is quite a while, and I'd not heard a single thing about it, but it looked alright, so we watched it. And you know what? It had the possibility to be quite a good film. It actually did. It had quite an interesting storyline, something that they could have really played about with to make it a really interesting, funny film, and it had the possibility to be such a funny film. Instead, it was just incredibly awkward comedy. The jokes never really landed. It was just a bit of a mess, a hot mess, if I'm being totally honest with you. Like I say, I was kind of hooked to begin with. I thought this is going to be quite a fun film, and then after a while, all of the jokes just didn't land, and it was one failed attempt after another to hit the audience with a bit of a funny joke, and it was just really it was like this. It really was. And after a while, I thought, God, I'm really not interested in what's going to happen. And it did go on a little bit. I think it's like an hour and 40-minute runtime, and normally that's not too bad. But for this film, it was just it was an unbearable watch. I think it was unbearable. It got to the point where, because none of the jokes were landing, nothing was really worth watching, I just started to zone out. A lot of the storyline could have been told a lot quicker. A lot of it was kind of unnecessary, I thought. Didn't add anything to the story, and they were just adding it for the sake of it, if that makes sense. But it has the possibility to be a really fun film. You know, the idea of someone faking a pregnancy, I'm sure has been done before, but it's a fun storyline. They just didn't do it that great. I felt the ending especially was very rushed. You know, we've kind of built up all these relationships with these characters, we've got to know all of these people, and then it's the end of the film. And I didn't really understand exactly what was going on, especially one of the end scenes where they go off on this sort of, I don't know what you'd call it, it's some sort of council city machine, and I don't know whether it's like a bin collector or something like that, and they just start crashing into things, and I'm thinking, what on earth is going on here? No idea what's going on here. Why are they doing that? It was almost like a knockoff Bridget Jones, and I really didn't enjoy it. To begin with, I really wanted to. I just really didn't enjoy it. And I've always felt that Netflix original films are like cheap and cheerful films that just get really quickly made, thrown together, and get released onto streaming. That's not for every Netflix original film, don't get me wrong. You know, for example, a notable one recently that I really enjoyed was Carry On. A lot of people enjoyed that as well. I thought Carry On was an exceptional film, and I was actually quite gutted that it didn't get a cinematic release in cinemas. But that is a Netflix original film, and that was a really enjoyable film. This, however, is a prime example of the other Netflix original films that just are, I feel like, are made really quickly, cheaply, and not with much thought gone through them, just to add content onto the streaming service. And yeah, it was pretty naff. I didn't know any of the characters, didn't know any of the actors or actresses, didn't know any of them. And like I say, the biggest downfall for this film is that nothing landed. None of the jokes landed. Nothing worked. The chemistry didn't work. There was like points where they were arguing, and I was like, why are you arguing? There were things that didn't make sense. The CGI and animation just looked dreadful. It was one of those films that was made almost with the intention of wanting to be a modern, trendy film, and it really wasn't. It was a real corny, awkward, unbearable watch, which I don't recommend at all. So there you go. There is my thoughts on Kind of Pregnant. It's kind of streaming on Netflix right now. Or that's an example of one of the jokes that you'll hear, just like that. Extremely corny jokes. It's streaming on Netflix right now for Netflix subscribers. As always, what's rated out of 10? I'm giving this film a 3 out of 10. Like I say, it had an interesting storyline that actually, if they spent a lot more time on it, I think it could have been something really good, but really poorly executed, if you ask me. Obviously, it's a Netflix original film, so it won't be getting a DVD release, but there you go. There's everything I've got to say on Kind of Pregnant, like I say, on Netflix right now. As always, in the description below is the movie plot, a link to the movie trailer, as well as a link to my movie review playlist, which features every single movie review that I've ever done. There is even another movie review on a Netflix original film called Back in Action. You can check that out down below there in the playlist as well. Thank you very much for watching. I shall see you in another video, and fingers crossed, another movie review very soon.